Good morning, traders. This is Bear Wilkie with StartupTrade.com, and it's 10 minutes till 9 a.m. Eastern Time on Thursday, March 13th. So, looking back at yesterday's action, real quick, uh, we had basically the Qs traded between 472 and 481 for the session. The S&P 500 cash, the SPX, traded between 550 and right around 570, or I'm sorry, 5550 to 5670, about 120 point range there. And the SPY traded between 554 and basically 566. Looking at, and we did repair. One thing I noticed about yesterday's auction, and this is going to be uh, the Bulls really made a poor showing yesterday, right? So above these signal prints that you're looking at here on the NQ, right? That's a different auction. Above those signal prints and below those signal prints, and you had no acceptance whatsoever in the auction that was above those signal prints. The same for the S&P, the ES above 56.46. You had no interest in the auction. Those lines and levels are going to be important for today. So yesterday's overnight high, which you really can't see, it would be about 30 points. I'm sorry, about 50 points over yesterday's high. You get above 50 points over yesterday's high. That's where the split in the auction is. It's really not yesterday's high. Um, and then for the ES, it's right at yesterday's high. So I would be very hesitant to look for shorts above those levels if we end up going up there, other than to, you know, unless structure really proves itself and the VIX is starting to rise, right? We do have other problems other than PPI. The title of my video is PPI Thursday. PPI came in cold, right? And it was probably a little surprising, but we've got whatever the goofballs in Washington are doing with the government shutdown. I don't. They must be trying to do something that they want 60 votes instead of 50 votes or 51 votes to pass the continuing resolution for the funding of the government. Uh, but they're probably going to have to. Republicans are probably going to have to cave and just do what would be a 51 vote as normal. I haven't been following it, but good luck with getting it. That any Democrats that cross the aisle over there. So that is problematic because with President Trump, it's kind of a wild card. No one else really wanted us to default on our debt payments, our interest payments on the bonds, but with President Trump, we don't know, right? He's declared bankruptcy 7 times, so um, I don't know. Looking at really where we're at with what this did to structure, uh, we have excess and A lines also that we can use as a guide for today, right? So, and that's the first warning shot that there could be strength. We basically have a 3-day balance. I'm not even gonna get into that. We basically have a 3-day balance that we're looking at. I'm gonna skip positioning. I don't think was really too much in it, but we have basically a 3-day balance here. We have come into potential support, even if it's just for a dead cat bounce. Again, I keep expecting us to be able to rally up to 58.38. And remember, when what should happen doesn't happen, the opposite is will happen with equal magnitude and force. That would take us down to around 53.67. I think if we lose this area, it's just a few sessions, and that's the next stop on the bus lower. Otherwise, we should consolidate in here maybe for 5 or 6 weeks between 5,600 and 5850. That'd be about a 250 point range to consolidate in. Uh, we did technically end one time framing down yesterday. Uh, not with a bunch of fanfare because I just explained to you how poorly the auction was for the bulls yesterday. So when we break out of this 3-day balance, we should get, probably 400-point move for the Nasdaq. Whether that's to the upside or to the downside, that would be your first spot where you're gonna watch uh, different things. And then looking at uh, overnight action, 64 points for the ES, right? And you can see that we're basically nobody, well, I should rephrase that. The Russell did minorly take out yesterday's lows, right? The rest of them all held yesterday's lows. Um, we are still, most of the action is below the settlements on all of the indexes. That means getting back above the settlement. Again, what makes your screens go green, more or less, should get you up to value area high, and then we'll see if we test those excess and A lines. Keep in mind, if we can't even get to 19,622 after the bell rings, that's problematic, and the same with 5605. That's problematic if you can't trade those points of control. And you want to see basically after 45 minutes, you want to see time and price start uh, heading, holding above those levels. If not, we're probably just gonna take out yesterday's lows and make that 400-point move lower for whatever reason. And it doesn't matter, even though CPI came in good. I always ask, is bad news good news? Is good news good news? Right? So today, good news could be bad news. We don't know. Good news should be good news. With PPI coming in lighter. So we will see what happens with that. I'll be interested to see what Jack's looking at, and we'll go. So headline risk, I think today and tomorrow is anything to do with the continuing resolution for government funding. That is your headline risk. It's unscheduled. I say that is even uh, probably 3 times the risk than any kind of tariff news, if you can believe that. I hope this helps. You guys have a great day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.